Thank you, Phil, for that very kind introduction. I don't know about everybody else here, but I've been inspired so far. I think that this event has been great, connecting people and sharing information and being able to inspire more creative innovations in the state. I'd like to talk mostly here. We're going to talk about the Space Science Center and some of the innovations we've been able to do, and some of the things we do for education in Eastern Kentucky. So, space, right? I didn't say it was the final frontier here, as it was the newest frontier, because there's always going to be something else that we need to figure out that we're going to do. But space exhibits new challenges. It's a new environment, so we need new solutions for that. And up until about 20 years ago, that was done by very few companies in a very, very small section of the world, Silicon Valley. And recently, though, we have some smaller companies coming online. We have private enterprise. You saw SpaceX launch just there on the other slide. And what if I told you that some of these great things are actually happening right here in the state of Kentucky and in Eastern Kentucky? How do we do it? Well, we research things and we teach them. We learn about all of these things that we need to know, and we help our students understand and we give them the tools that they need to succeed. And we apply what we know, we apply what we learned to build something great. So this is an image of our 21 meters dish. This is the only dish that is on the NASA Deep Space Network that is not a NASA asset. There are 3 NASA dishes, and there's 1 private dish owned by the Morehead State University Space Science Center. And so what we do with this mostly is satellite tracking. We talk to any mission that NASA needs us to communicate with, and we bring down data, and we send up commands and things like that to the spacecraft. And we do that all from Morehead, Kentucky, and it's run mainly by students and former students. We have hired a few of our former students who were exceptional to run the dish. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the Space Science Center. So this is our building, located right downtown Morehead. And the dish is right up the hill, a bit to the left of this as you're looking at it. And our control center is that large glass windows you can see there. So something that a lot of people don't know is that Kentucky is an aerospace state. So if I took a poll of everybody in the room, just shout it out. What would you think that the number one thing we export is in Kentucky? That's what most people say. But it's actually aerospace. It's our number 1 manufactured export. It's increased 183% in the past 5 years. And in 2019, it reached over $14 billion. It's responsible for about 21,000 jobs and about $1.5 billion in wages, which is a 63% increase, and it's accelerating, right? So this is Accelerate Kentucky, right? So we're getting more and more aerospace jobs in this area, and we want to keep that going because they're good jobs, they're quality jobs, and they're here to stay, right? At least for a very long time, because as I mentioned before, space might be the newest frontier. It's gonna stay the frontier for quite some time. So, MSU and the Space Science Center is actually the space side of the aerospace. All those metrics have to do with aerospace as a whole. So that includes aeronautics and aircraft and all of that as well. But we take mostly just the space side. We're interested in stuff that's outside the atmosphere. And so we currently have around 7 NASA contracts. We work directly with NASA. The students work directly on those projects as well. And what we're trying to achieve here is an environment where the students get hands-on experience, where they can go out into industry and succeed well. We have our students place in NASA centers everywhere. MIT has hired quite a few of our students. And as a result, the program has been very, very successful. But one of the things that is important to me, and is also important to the Space Science Center as a whole, is not necessarily bringing in other people from other states. We do that as well. We'll educate anybody. But educating the people from the surrounding area and building an ecosystem where jobs can be in Eastern Kentucky, where we can have our education in Eastern Kentucky, where somebody doesn't have to, if they have a dream of working in the aerospace industry and in space, they don't have to leave the state. They can have a good job right here after they graduate. And so far, we've been successful in those endeavors. We were actually the first technically engineering program in Eastern Kentucky as well. So we are trying to create the next generation aerospace workforce. As you can see, these are our clean room facilities down here. We have our RF lab. We've been fortunate that we have the people that believe in this vision, that have come to work at the Space Science Center, that have brought a lot of equipment, that have embraced this idea as well. And so we can do things that a lot of actually larger institutions cannot do. So we offer a Bachelor's of Science in Space Systems Engineering. We have Bachelor's in Physics as well, Astrophysics, Master's degrees in Space Systems Engineering as well, and we have almost 100% job placement in pretty much all of these fields, especially in the Space Systems Engineering fields. We have almost 100% job placement for our graduates. And part of that reason is because we are developing actual satellites, we are developing actual hardware at the center, and the students are working on that. So not only do they exit with a degree, they're also exiting with skills. They're exiting with something that most people have to go and work in industry for around 3-4 years before they develop. They already have that when they come out of the program, and the companies that hire these students understand that. They see that. They understand that, wow, these students are very prepared, and they know what they're talking about, and they know how to do these things when they come out. And that's a testament as well to our graduates and the people in Eastern Kentucky. Now, I'm not an Eastern Kentucky native. However, I'm planning to stay here probably for the rest of my life. I think it's a great place, and everybody has been extremely welcoming. And everybody is very hardworking. And that attribute has been seen by the list over there of all of the companies that have hired our graduates from our program. All we need is to give people the opportunities that they need to get that education. So the next big thing is actually small. In the old days of satellite design, so we're talking the 70s, 80s, the satellites were very, very large. I mean, Sputnik was obviously quite small, but the satellites that did most of the communications and all this were very, very large. And Morehead, Space Science Center, got in on the ground floors the CubeSat movement, which you mentioned a little bit ago, and that's mainly what we focus on developing. The CubeSats started out as educational, and they've moved to actually doing real things. There are CubeSats out there that are mapping fires to see if there are fires, on the Earth's surface. Our newest one is called Lunar Ice Cube, which I have a picture of here in a second. And we're mapping water ice on the moon. And that's been delivered and will be launching on the Artemis 1 mission. So, because this is a crowd of business people, I included some business stuff. So, the small sat market is significantly growing. Private companies are interested because the barriers to entry are lower. You don't have to spend billions of dollars anymore to make a satellite. You only have to spend millions. It still seems like a lot of money. Our lunar ice cube was around 25 million, but that is significantly less than what it took just 10 years ago to have a satellite. So these smaller satellites, small sats as we call them, and CubeSats, they are taking over the market in satellite design and production. So these are some of the satellites we've launched. Up on the top there, you can see Lunar Ice Cube, which is the one that we just recently delivered to NASA. We had Kentucky Sat, CXBN, CXBN2. The CXBN series were all designed by students. The students led the design development. All we did was sort of sit back and advise. They designed it, they built it, they tested it, they launched it. Well, when I say they launched it, I mean they went and gave it to somebody to put it on a rocket to launch it. They didn't make the rocket. That's next year. So all of these have been great. Our biggest one so far is Lunar Ice Cube, and you can go to NASA's website. You'll see me in the clean room down at Kennedy when we were delivering it, dressed up in a bunny suit, delivering this thing. And I'll tell you, it is extremely nerve-wracking when you are holding a $25 million piece of hardware that you spent like a year putting together. Not only is it $25 million, but you spend a year putting it together, you do not want to drop it. So Lunar Ice Cube's contract was a direct contract with NASA to search for water ice on the moon. It's going to be launched on SLS, which is now launching in probably January 2021. It might get pushed out again, we don't know, but it's currently sitting on the rocket, so our job is done. We're just waiting for it to launch. It was around $24 million. It was undertaken by a small team, and this was us as faculty, engineers, and students as well, all working on this together. It's us in the clean room putting this together. And this is our dish. So how do we talk to the thing, right, once it's up in space? We have to control it somehow, and we can do that right from there. And that's something I was going to point out, that's something that we can do in Eastern Kentucky that nobody else can do. It's something that NASA has been extremely proud of us for. We can do something called end-to-end testing. We can take the satellite, we can talk to it, we can feed it back through the entire system and make sure it works before launching it. And even larger institutes, even NASA actually doesn't do that. So we have these facilities because we have the dish and because we have all the facilities at the Space Science Center. This is illustrating where all of the Deep Space Network antennas are, so you can get a understanding of where we are in the universe. We fill sort of a gap for NASA, and that's why one of the many reasons they brought us online into the Deep Space Network. So, what are we trying to do? We're trying to foster innovation and education in the region. We want to grow great engineers, but we also put an emphasis on entrepreneurship. And the reason that is because it's very important to be able to pivot, to be able to have those attributes that entrepreneurs have in this new growing small sat market, this new aerospace market. It's very important to have that. And so we try to foster both of those things at the same time. We support government and private sector missions. We're actually selected as one of the places that's going to be monitoring the first commercial lunar lander. It's going to be a robot that's sent, and we're the ones that are going to be talking to it. And we are, of course, supporting the local economy, including startups that are around that area. And I put this helping to create the technology corridor in Eastern Kentucky, that Silicon Holler that's often talked about. So I'll leave you with this. It doesn't matter where you are or where you come from. Everyone can help engineer the solutions of the future. And I believe that 100%, and that's something that we try to help grow. Thank you very much.